When my daughter surprised me with Cuban cigars for my birthday, I never expected this twist. It was a sunny Saturday morning. One of those days when the world feels alive, buzzing with anticipation. I was lounging on the porch, sipping coffee, when my daughter, Ella, rushed in with the excitement of a live wire. She had a glint in her eye, a mischief that sent chills down my spine. "Dad, I've got a surprise for you," she squealed. My heart thumped. What could it be? A new car? A planned trip? But nothing could prepare me for what she pulled out of her oversized tote bag. She revealed a sleek mahogany box, polished to a shine. It was heavy and elegant. Inside were Cuban cigars, their dark brown leaves swirling with a promise of adventure. I swallowed hard, the rich, earthy scent wafting up to my nose. They were hand-rolled, the finest money could buy. I felt a thrill, yet an unsettling tension danced in the air. Why would she go to such lengths? Each cigar seemed to whisper secrets, mysteries lurking beneath their fragrant exterior. As I picked one up, Ella's face turned serious. But there's a catch. Her voice trailed off, hanging in the air thick like fog. My heart raced as I leaned in closer. This was no ordinary birthday gift. You have to smoke it at sunset, and only then will you truly understand, she added, her eyes glistening with unspoken thoughts. What did she mean? Fear gripped me. Was this some sort of trap? I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something vital. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The evening came too quickly, shadows creeping over the yard like ghosts, and I found myself pacing. The box of cigars lay on the table, almost mocking me. Ella's words echoed in my mind. Who knew a harmless gift could carry such weight? The sun dipped below the horizon. The world turned golden, then dark. I picked up a cigar, my hands trembling. Under the swirling clouds, I felt a surge of dread. What awaited me beyond that flame? Would the truth unravel before my eyes? Or was there something worse yet to come? As I lit the tip, the first draw filled my lungs with smoke and something uncanny, a sensation that sent shivers straight down my spine. What had I just ignited? The air thickened around me as the smoke curled toward the evening sky, twisting into shapes that sparked uneasy memories. The first drag was richer than I'd imagined. It flooded my senses with a blend of flavors that sent me spiraling. Intrigued, yet terrified, I didn't just taste tobacco. I tasted something darker and more potent beneath the surface. Ella stood silently, her gaze locked on me, keen and expectant. The expression on her face twisted like the smoke emanating from my lips. "What do you taste?" she asked, her voice piercing the air like a knife. That I hesitated, searching for the right words. "It's strong," I finally responded, trying to keep my voice steady. But even as I spoke, a flicker of panic ignited in me. Was this all just a strange coincidence? The shadows darted behind her, shifting almost as if alive. The world around us turned electric, igniting a sense of urgency deep inside. "Good," she whispered, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "It's supposed to be. But it's more than that. What you're about to experience is something that stays with you forever. Forever." The weight of that word gripped me, tightening around my chest. I took another drag, feeling the warmth spread through me, swirling with every heartbeat. Suddenly, the ground beneath me felt unstable, and I staggered slightly. "Ella, what is it?" Just then, the cigar crackled, producing a sound that startled us both. The air shimmered, static and electrifying, pulling me under an invisible current. My thoughts raced. I could hear the whispers of the night, the rustling of leaves, but they turned into voices, echoes from my past that I wished to forget, each one sharper than the last. Ella stepped closer, her breath hitching. "You have to let it carry you," she urged, hypnotic in the dim light. The shadows seemed to inch closer, wrapping around me like a lover's embrace. "There's a reason we needed to do this now." "What are you talking about?" I needed clarity in the chaos, but her presence stirred something wildly inexplicable within me, both inviting and treacherous. Then it hit me, a memory, a flash of an old argument, my words echoing in the dark corners of my mind. You can't just throw things at me and expect me to understand. I said to her long ago, a fight over something inconsequential. But we both knew it wasn't just that. It was always about what lay below the surface, the wounds we chose to ignore if sensing the unfolding storm, silence blanketed us, leaving only the soft crack of the cigar between us. This isn't just a gift, is it? I asked, my heart pounding and throat tightening as realization clawed at me. You're not just revealing a taste, are you? Ella dropped her gaze, the weight of an unseen burden showing on her face. It's about the truth, Dad. The truth we've both been running from, she murmured, shadows shifting ominously around her. A sudden gust of wind knocked the cigar from my fingers, sending it spiraling into the unknown. But before it vanished, the embers glimmered, revealing a vision of a truth I wasn't prepared to confront. Something incredible lay ahead, or was it terrifying? A loud crack thundered in the distance, pulling my attention. Ella grasped my arm, her grip tightening. You have to see this through. Just trust me. I wasn't sure what I was trusting or where this would lead. But as the smoke curled away, fading into the ether, I felt the boundaries of my reality start to dissolve. What awaited me beyond those embers? Would I face the truth I sought, or would it bury me forever? A knot twisted in my stomach as I realized the real surprise was just beginning. The ground shifted again, and I felt dizzy. The shadows that had once seemed harmless now throbbed with a life of their own, pulsating around us like a storm about to break. The night was no longer just a setting. It became a menacing backdrop to the chaos unfolding. Where are we? My voice was barely a whisper, a futile plea against the rising tide of panic. Ella's eyes were locked onto something behind me, an unseen force drawing her gaze. Just keep looking forward, she said, steadying me with her grip. Whatever you see, trust your instincts. It'll change everything. Then I heard it. A low hum, like thunder rolling in from far away. But this wasn't just a sound. It felt charged, electric, and real, vibrating through my bones. With each pulse, flashes of memories ignited my old house. Laughter, then arguments. My heart raced as the hum intensified, morphing into a chorus of voices. Make it stop, I shouted, desperate as the memories slammed into me. Confrontations I had buried came flooding back, each one rich with regret. The pain was sharp, raw, forcing me to relive choices I had long sought to forget. Listen, Ella's voice cut through the haze. You're not alone in this. We need to face it together. I turned to her, but she was engulfed in shadows, her form shifting like smoke. Just as quickly, the flashes changed visions of Ella, younger, filled with innocence and brightness. Then darkness crept in again, pulling her from my grasp. Stop. Don't let them take you. I reached out, but the shadows danced away, leaving only the haunting echo of her laugh. Focus, she called, her voice grounding me. What do you feel? What is happening inside you? Fear. The realization struck me like lightning. I'm afraid of losing you. The walls around my heart had started to tremble. Then don't, she replied firmly. Don't lose me. Fight back. This is our chance to reclaim what we lost. Something shifted within me. I took a deep breath, summoning a steadiness I didn't know I still had. I won't let you go. Suddenly, the shadows melted away, revealing a path bathed in silvery moonlight. The air cleared, and before me stood a figure cloaked in the smoke, his features obscured. My heart raced, a mix of dread and recognition clawing at my throat. Who are you? I stuttered. What do you want from us? Truth, the figure replied, his voice resonating like the echo of a past buried deep. To break the cycle, you must understand your past, your choices, your failures. A rush of wind swept past, swirling the remnants of smoke around me. And then I understood it wasn't just my truth at stake, but Ella's too. We were bound together in this confrontation. Look deeper, the figure coaxed, extending a hand, still shrouded in mist. The images built around us like a tide, waves crashing with memories yet to be healed. I glanced at Ella, who was watching intently, urging me silently to step forward. With a surge of determination, I took a step towards that figure, nerves electrified, knowing this was the turning point. All right, I breathed, knowing we would either break free from our past or be consumed by it. Show me. As the figure's hand began to draw me into the swirling void, I felt a jolt of clarity. The truth was within reach, but would it destroy us or allow us to rebuild? Just as I stepped closer, an unexpected snap echoed through the night. A loud crack rang out, piercing the air like a gunshot. The world around us wavered, and I was left standing on the precipice of the unknown, heart pounding. What truth awaited us in that darkness? Would we succumb to fear, or would we fight for everything we loved? The shadows shifted ominously, and I had to know. The air was electric, crackling with anticipation. My heart thundered painfully against my ribcage as I watched the cloaked figure. The shadows, while momentarily quiet, resumed their restless dance around us, teasing me with glimpses of a history I wished to forget. My breath quickened. The corridor into which I had stepped felt infinite, spiraling out in every direction while pulling me under. Then, a lurching sensation descended upon me. The crack had shattered the stillness, yet in its wake, there was only silence, pregnant with a weight I couldn't shake off. I felt Ella's presence slipping further away, her soft urging drowned out by the chaos descending upon my mind. "Where are you?" I called into the emptiness, fear crashing over me like icy waves. I turned, searched, but the shadows swallowed her. Panic clawed at my throat, thick and suffocating, but amidst that fear was a desperate need to understand. "What do you want?" I shouted at the figure, who remained unmoving, shrouded completely in enigma. "Your fears are not your enemy," he said, his voice low but piercing. "They are the edge of a truth that can set you free." A sudden wave of anger surged within me, rising up against the constricting fear. I stepped closer, teeth clenched. "What do you know about my fears?" I shot back, desperation morphing into defiance. The figures had shifted slightly, as though he were leaning in. "More than you believe. But to claim your truth, you must confront your failures." The shadows flickered like candle flames caught in a gust, revealing fragments of sorrowful faces, loved ones lost, bitter partings, moments that screamed regret. I stumbled, memories rushing at me, dragging me down. It felt too much, too heavy, yet there was comfort in recognizing my pain. I wasn't alone in this. Ella's strength echoed within my resolve. "Ella," I shouted again, desperation tinged with a growing strength. "We can do this together." "No," the figure commanded, and in that moment, I felt a jolt of silence wash over me. "You must face this on your own." A chill ran down my spine. Alone? The very thought sent waves of panic. Yet, I felt the flicker of determination ignite within. I wouldn't be defeated. Not when Ella was still a part of this tethered struggle. I gazed back into the shifting shadows, catching glimpses of her fighting to reach me. "Trust yourself." Ella's voice rang out again, stronger this time, though I couldn't see her face. A beacon in the fog. With a deep breath, I centered myself. I focused on my heart, on the heat pooling there. "I am not my failures." I shouted into the void, defiance mixing with fervor. The shadows wavered, and the grip of the figure loosened. I felt the ground beneath me firm, as if solidifying the choice before me. "Face your truth," the figure whispered, fading slightly. "It is the cycle you must break." Suddenly, the swirling darkness erupted. Memories soared around me, pain mingled with joy, love interspersed with loss. I caught a fleeting glimpse of a life half-lived, grasped through fingers trembling with regret, and then, from that chaos, a soft light began to pulse. It was an unearthly shimmer that cut through the shadows. I squinted, my heart racing. Was that Ella? "Look deeper," she urged again. "Face it all." With fingertips trembling, I reached toward the light. Clarity engulfed me, visions clashing together in a riot of emotions. But as I reached, the air shifted abruptly, pulling me back before I could grasp that radiant truth. The void shook violently. A final crack echoed, reverberating through my bones. It was the sound of something breaking. My heart stopped. What I would uncover next could either shatter me or set me free. The darkness roared, shadows swirling violently, and I had to know, was this my end, or just the beginning of my reckoning? The screams of the void reverberated in my ears, drowning out Ella's voice. The brilliant light flickered like a dying star, and I lunged forward, reaching beyond the shadows that clawed at my limbs. "Ella!" I cried out, but the words felt hollow, echoing in the oppressive silence. The dark surged around me, wrapping tight like a vice. I felt small, insignificant, a mere fragment in a storm of chaos. Memories flooded my mind, faces flashing before me, smiling, laughing, crying. Each itched against my heart, a constant reminder of choices made and unmade. I clawed at my throat, trying to scream again, but the darkness swallowed my voice. With each breath, the air grew heavier. The cloaked figure, now more phantom than human, took a step forward, shadow melding into the surroundings. "There lies your truth," he intoned, his voice dripping with disdain. "Accept it, and find the strength to fight. Or deny it, and remain shackled in this abyss." Tension mixed with revulsion churned in my stomach. I could sense him feeding off my fear, like a leech drawing strength from the very act of my hesitation. "No more," I gasped, pushing against the grasp of despair. The weight of failure surged up, gritty and suffocating, but beneath it, a flicker of light stirred a remnant of hope clawing for release. "I will not be bound by this." The words burst forth, raw and shaking. I focused on the light, that shimmering beacon flickering in the distance, pushing through the storm of shadows. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled as if my declaration had struck them like lightning. The air shimmered with electric energy as dimensions shifted around me. Ella's spirit shone brighter now, trying to forge a path through the darkness. "Together," she called, her presence stronger, more vivid. "You have to fight." I felt the heat of her spirit joining with mine, igniting my veins with unfurling power. I summoned every ounce of courage, tearing my gaze from the cloaked figure and locking onto the brilliance that lingered just beyond my reach. With a surge, I plunged into the light. Every heartbeat resonated with purpose, memories flooding back with an intensity that threatened to drown me. I could see my failures transformed into lessons, my regrets morphing into the steps I'd take to reclaim myself. The remnants of my past seemed to shimmer before me. Choices I regretted recaptured in a tender glow, each moment reframed as a stepping stone instead of a roadblock. I waded through the whispers of doubt that taunted me, wrapping my hands around their throats, silencing them. "Let go," I urged, and for the first time, the cloaked figure faltered. But my triumph was short-lived. I could feel a deeper darkness lurking, more sinister than what I had faced. It pulsed against me, the shadows screeching as they twisted and spiraled. The cloaked figure's resolve hardened, and I realized this was only the beginning. "Embrace your failures," he spat, his voice now a storm. "They hold the keys to your very existence." Panic welled up again, but this time it walked hand in hand with clarity. I understood then my failures, my fears, they needed to be confronted. They were not just obstacles, they were pieces of me. "What are you trying to keep me from?" I demanded, anger igniting a blaze in my chest. The ether trembled. "Show me." The shadows shivered, and the air thickened with a palpable tension as the figure drew closer, his presence looming like an eclipse. "Once you see, there is no turning back." Suddenly, the light dimmed, and I was plunged into a deafening darkness. My heart raced as I faced the abyss before me, the encroaching unknowns pulling at my thoughts. The shadows were no longer a mere backdrop. They closed in, threatening to consume everything that I had to know. What was the truth that lay deeper in the shadows? A truth that could either level me or elevate me to heights unknown. In the pitch black, my thoughts screamed for answers that seemed just out of reach. The darkness felt alive, swirling around me like a storm of despair and hopelessness. My heart thundered in my chest, echoing the chaos that raged outside my view. I braced myself, forcing the fear down and taking a shaky breath. What was hidden within this darkness? Was it a truth meant to destroy me or a revelation that would grant me freedom? Suddenly, a sharp crack pierced the silence. Flames flickered to life, igniting a small space in the void. Shadows danced on the edges, stretching and contorting into grotesque forms. Familiar faces emerged, warped by pain and regret. I recognized them not from distant memories, but from my heart's secret corners. They were the pieces of myself I had tried to bury. "Face us," a voice whispered, soft yet commanding. It belonged to a woman I had wronged, the anguish in her eyes cutting through the haze. "You can't escape us." "No," I shouted, shaking my head furiously. "I've fought too hard to be here, to change. You're not going to drag me back." The flames flickered higher, illuminating her sad smile. "You think you can escape? The shadows have fed on your guilt for far too long." The cloaked figure loomed in the background, his presence a pressing weight. "Embrace them, for they've shaped your existence. Every decision, every regret, they are not chains but building blocks of your future." Panic surged, my breath quickened. But how can I embrace the pain? How can I bear it? By understanding, Ella's voice came softly, pulling me back from the edge of despair. "Seeing your truth is the only way forward." Don't fear the darkness. It's part of you. The shadows writhed, twisting around my legs as if desperate to drag me down. Stop fighting. You belong with us. They roared, their voices a million echoes combined. I shook my head defiantly, a wave of determination crashing over me. You don't define me. I get to decide who I am. The flames increased, crackling with energy. I could feel the warmth coursing through my veins, pushing back against the cold grip of the shadows. I looked around me, confronting the faces in the darkness, the ones I had wronged, the ones I hated, the ones I had loved and lost. Their pain was palpable, and I recognized my part in it. Forgive me, I whispered to the faces, to the woman standing before me. Let me face this. The shadows shrieked, thrashing violently. You can't ask forgiveness. It's too late. Maybe, I said, heart racing, but it's never too late to start healing. As if my words had unlocked a door, luminosity surged through the void. A bright light blazed through the darkness, forcing it to retreat. The cloaked figure's expression warped into rage. This is not over. No, it's just the beginning. I shot back, fueled by newfound strength. The faces began to shimmer, shifting from sorrow to something resembling hope. I felt Ella's hand in mine, her strength mingling with my own, and in that moment, I knew we could conquer this darkness together. But the cloaked figure was not finished. He loomed larger now, an unyielding force. Your fight has only just begun, he hissed, retreating into the shadows, his presence lingering like a distant storm cloud. As the light continued to spread, the shadows began to lose their grip. But I sensed something beneath it all, a deeper layer waiting to be uncovered. What else lurked in these shadows? What was the truth beyond this moment? Before I could process it, a tremor shook the ground beneath me, a rumble of impending danger. My heart raced as walls seemed to close in, threatening to seal off my escape. Shadows surged back, but I stood resolute. What did he mean there was more? What awaited me in the depths of this darkness? I could feel the pulse of something ancient, something profound, lurking just beyond my understanding. And I had to know. The tremor intensified, sending another jolt of adrenaline pumping through my veins. I felt the temperature plummet, anxiety coiling tighter around my chest. The shadows seemed to sense my fear, swirling with greater urgency, eager to smother the flickering light that stood as my only shield. Stay strong, Ella urged, her grip firm around my hand. I could see the determination etched on her face, her eyes reflecting the dancing flames. Together, we formed a fragile barrier against the encroaching darkness. But a flutter of doubt whispered at the back of my mind. How long could this light hold? The cloaked figure stepped closer, his presence cold and suffocating. You believe you can shine brighter than your past? He taunted, his voice dripping with malice. You think you can outrun what you are? I felt the panic swell again, but I grit my teeth. I don't need to outrun it. I need to face it. His laugh echoed ominously, reverberating through that desolate space. Face it, you say? You're still shackled to your choices. Your heart is a battlefield, and here, it's about to be won or lost. With that, shadows surged forward, wrapping around Ella and me, tugging at our limbs like the arms of 1,000 desperate souls. I could feel their coldness seeping into my skin, pulling me down into the depths of despair. No, I screamed, yanking my hand from the grip of the shadows, clutching Ella's tighter. We won't fall. We will rise. The shadows screeched, sharp and pain-filled, as if my words burned them. The flames flickered violently, but my heart ignited with a fierce determination, igniting the light once more. I could feel it intensify, pushing back against the shadows inch by inch. Remember who you are? Ella shouted, her voice like a beacon amid the chaos. You are not the person they say you are. You hold the power of your choices. With every pulse of my heart, a wave of heat surged. The light broadened, illuminating the dark corners of my mind. I willed myself to confront the pain, the betrayals, the failures, the guilt. They surged within me like a storm, but now I didn't turn away. I embraced it, knowing I had to see it all, to feel it all. Suddenly, clarity rushed in with the bright light. I was not just defined by the moments of shame. I was the collection of my battles, my growth, my resilience. I thought of my daughter, her laughter, her strength, everything pure and good in my life. They were the anchors that would guide me through this darkness. Let go. You're not too damaged to heal. I shouted into the abyss. Everything seemed to freeze as my words echoed back at me, the shadows recoiling as though my truth struck them like lightning. That I felt relieved for an instant. But the cloaked figure loomed larger than ever, his eyes burning with fury. You think this is over? Darkness doesn't abandon easily. It will consume you unless you. A sudden rumble interrupted him. A deafening crash echoed from deep within the dark layers. The ground split apart, revealing a chasm, an unfathomable void ready to swallow everything in its path. The walls constricted tighter, and fear surged once more. That I felt a pull toward that darkness. The cloaked figure stood at its edge, a twisted grin upon his features. But will you step forward? Will you risk everything to find what lies beyond? The shadows hungered, thrashing around us with renewed vengeance. I took a step back, uncertainty bubbling through me once again. What did that void hold? Could the truth I sought lie waiting inside, ready to pull me deeper? Ella's voice pierced the noise. We have to choose. It's time to face it together. Together. But how? The tension thickened as I stood at the threshold. With one final look at the shadows, I felt the ancient pulse that still thrummed beneath the surface, the call of the unknown. What awaited me on the other side? A revelation or a catastrophe? And more importantly, could I truly walk into the darkness and emerge unscathed? The ground trembled again, and a chill swept through my body as I teetered at the edge of the chasm. Ella's grip tightened, her knuckles pale but resolute. I could see fear flickering in her eyes, blending with a spark of bravery that ground my doubt into dust. Are you ready? She asked, her voice steady but edged with urgency. That I hesitated, heart racing at the thought of what might lie within that void. The cloaked figure seemed to revel in my uncertainty, a predator waiting patiently for its prey. The choice is never simple, is it? He mocked, stepping closer to the opening as if the shadows at his feet were eager to embrace him. I refuse to let you dictate my journey, I shouted, conviction rising within me like a flame against the forest of darkness around us. We're not afraid of you. As if my words had summoned the shadows, they lashed out again, wrapping around my ankles and pulling me toward the chasm. Panic surged, and I felt myself slipping. Ella, I yelled, but she didn't let go. Her eyes locked onto mine, fierce and unwavering. Hold on. We will do this together, she said, pulling me back with a strength that defied her size. It was as if the flames surrounding us amplified her spirit, a light pushing back against the suffocating dark. That I took a deep breath, finally understanding. Together, the word echoed in my mind. We had to leap, to trust, and to confront the shadows head-on. I felt the warmth of Ella's hand, a reminder that my choices were intertwined with hers. Now, she cried. That I let go of everything, my doubts, my fears, my past. With one synchronized leap, we stepped forward into the void. The shadows screamed, a cacophony of rage and disbelief as we plunged into the darkness. Time warped around us, sensations flashed by heat, cold, the feeling of weightlessness tinged with terror. Suddenly, we landed hard on solid ground. The impact jarred my bones, but we were alive. I blinked rapidly, trying to adjust to the dim surroundings. We had emerged in a chamber filled with swirling mist, the air thick with an eerie quiet. Dark walls loomed on either side, and a faint, sickly light glowed from the far end. Where are we? I asked, my voice barely a whisper, swallowed up by the oppressive gloom. Ella scanned the room, her expression a mix of caution and resolve. I think we're in a place between truth and choices made. Look, ahead, a mirror shimmered in the haze. I stepped closer, unable to resist its call. As the mist parted, I caught my reflection, but it shifted. The image morphed, revealing scenes from my past, moments of joy, fractured memories of betrayal, and shadows of regrets. Each fragment played out, coming alive in vivid technicolor. No, I breathed, stepping back in horror. Not that. The cloaked figure's laughter echoed through the chamber. You think you can escape those memories? They are a part of your very essence. And here, they will be your undoing. If this is a nightmare, I said, resolving to fight, then I will wake up. I will find the truth. With renewed determination, I approached the mirror, ready to confront the scenes that had haunted me for so long. The brightness of the flickering light formed a halo around me, illuminating the dark spaces I had tried to suppress. "Ella, are you with me?" I called, casting a glance back at the steady resolve etched in her features. "Always," she shouted, taking my hand once more. As we stepped closer to the mirror, the images swirled violently, blurring into shadows that clawed at us like restless spirits. I knew this moment would define us. The echoes of the past were powerful, but we were stronger together. But just as I was about to reach out and grasp the shimmering surface, the laughter grew louder, and a flash of blinding light erupted, engulfing us in a whirlwind of darkness once more. What would we lose by confronting the past? Or would we find the freedom we desperately craved? With a soul-deep breath, I steadied myself, ready to face whatever came next, and then everything went black. Light pierced through the darkness, harsh and blinding. I gasped, a jolt of adrenaline coursing through my veins as my senses reeled. Shapes distorted in my vision, and I found myself sprawled on rough ground. Ella was beside me, groaning softly as she pushed herself to sit up, rubbing her temples. "Where are we now?" she muttered, looking around, her eyes wide with confusion. The chamber surrounded us was gone, replaced by a vast, desolate landscape. It felt like we were standing in the remains of a forgotten world. The sky hung heavy with dark, swirling clouds, crackling with electricity as if the very air was alive with tension. Gnarled trees towered around us, their branches twisted and reaching out, casting long shadows across the cracked earth. A feeling of dread pooled in my stomach. "This is worse than before," I said quietly, scanning for any sign of the cloaked figure. I didn't see him, but I could feel his presence lingering, like a cold wind that chilled my bones. Do you think this is the place he warned us about?" Ella asked, standing cautiously. I nodded, my throat tight. "If this is between worlds, we have to be careful. We're vulnerable here." Suddenly, a low rumble echoed across the barren expanse, making the ground tremble beneath our feet. I felt my heart racing again, each thud echoing in my ears. What else lurked in this place? As if in response to my thoughts, a figure emerged in the distance, tall and shadowy, with a familiar cloak billowing dramatically behind him. My pulse quickened as the figure approached, his true face obscured by the heavy hood. "Welcome," he said, his voice smooth and dripping with mockery. "You've made quite the leap into chaos. I'm impressed. Get away from us," Ella shouted, stepping in front of me like a shield. She was fierce. I could see the determination etched across her features. "We're not afraid of you. You don't hold power over us." The figure laughed, a sound that stirred anger and fear deep within me. "Oh, but you're wrong. Power is all I have, and I'm just getting started." With a flick of his wrist, the ground beneath us cracked open, a chasm wider than I could jump forming in an instant. It was a gaping maw of darkness, pulling at my senses. I could hear whispers swirling from its depths, fretting, crying, and begging to be set free. My stomach twisted at the horrifying sounds. "Ella," I gasped, instinctively reaching for her hand. "We have to find a way back. We have to." Before I could finish, the ground shook violently, sending us both reeling. I stumbled, but saw Ella come up next to me like a spark of light among the encroaching shadows. "Look," she said, pointing toward a flickering light ahead, hovering just above the ground. It pulsed rhythmically, as if beckoning us closer. "Do you see that?" I asked, squinting through the growing fear. "What do you think it is? Maybe it's a way out?" she said, her voice gaining confidence. "But we need to be fast." I nodded, swallowing hard. Trusting us felt like grasping at straws, but there was no choice now. We dashed toward the light, its glow growing ever brighter and more fierce. Then, just as we were about to reach it, the cloaked figure raised his arms, unleashing a storm of shadows that roared to life around us. "No," I yelled, but my voice was drowned out by the cacophony. The shadows wrapped around us, tightening their grip, and I felt like a puppet caught in a merciless play, manipulated by forces beyond my control. Ella's arms slipped from mine, and I turned, my heart sinking. "Ella," I shouted, panic rising in my chest as I flailed against the binds of darkness. The last thing I saw before everything faded again was her desperate smile, eyes filled with untamed resolve. In that moment, I understood the fight was far from finished. But without Ella, would I find the strength to face whatever lay ahead? And as the world faded into nothingness once more, I found myself wondering, Could courage outweigh despair in a place where light scarcely existed? In the depths of the void, the darkness swirled, thick and impenetrable. My heart raced, each beat echoing in the silence around me. I thought of Ella, her spirit burning bright against the shadows, and how desperately I had to bring her back. Stay strong, Ella, I whispered into the emptiness. I'll find you. Suddenly, I felt a pull, an electric charge sparking within me, igniting a flicker of hope. Pushing against the encroaching despair, I summoned every ounce of willpower I could muster. You will not take us, I shouted, my defiance a powerful proclamation against the darkness that sought to swallow me whole. I steeled myself. The shadows reacted, twisting and shifting, congealing into a form. The cloaked figure emerged, his presence oppressing, suffocating. You think you can escape? He hissed, voice slithering like a snake through the dark. You're alone now, abandoned to your fears. They will consume you, just as they consume your precious daughter. Anger surged within me, hot and vibrant. I had faced my fears before, and I would not falter now. You're wrong, I shouted, feeling anger morph into strength. I'm not alone. Ella is part of me, and I won't let you destroy us. My voice, hoarse yet powerful, echoed through the chasm. The shadows around me recoiled, and in that moment, light pierced the darkness, illuminating my surroundings. I gasped. Before me stood a vivid scene, memories cascading like a waterfall. I saw Ella's laughter on summer days, the warmth of her small hand in mine, sweet moments shared over a game or a meal. These weren't just memories, they were the bonds that connected us. Face it, the cloaked figure commanded, shadows swirling in anxious agitation. Face every regret, every mistake. With deliberate movements, I stepped toward the light, willing myself to confront what lay beneath. I will. I'm ready, I declared, and the memories intensified, merging into a single representation of pain and love, disappointment, but also joy. All at once, everything became a rush of emotions. Images flickered the time I raised my voice in anger, the holidays I had missed, the moments when I had let her down. My heart clenched tighter with each memory, faces of loved ones appearing like phantoms. But through that pain, a clarity grew. It's okay, I told myself. I can still change. It's never too late for us. The shadows began to whimper, twisting, as if they were alive and afraid. The cloaked figure stumbled back, the power he'd wielded starting to decay. No, you cannot accept them. They will weigh you down. But I felt the opposing force of hope, fierce and unwavering. No, they will lift us up, I insisted, realizing that each choice I made, every connection I built, held the power to rewrite my story, our story. Storms of shadows surged toward me, fierce and chaotic, but I pushed forward. Ella, I cried out again, summoning all the love I had for her, picturing her face, her laughter, her fierce spirit. I will find you. I will not let us fall. As if my words were a beacon, a force surged in the darkness, rippling around me. I felt the connection to Ella drawing near. My spirit soared, and the walls of despair crumbled, illuminating an exit ahead. Suddenly, I saw Ella standing there, bathed in swirling light, her presence radiating strength and courage. Dad, she called, voice breaking through the fog of shadows. I'm here. You found me. Tears of relief poured down my face as I surged toward her, my heart swelling with love. Always, I replied, capturing her hand in mine. In that moment, everything clicked into place. The weight of our pasts lifted, the shadows quivering as light filled the void. Together, we stood united, resolute against the darkness that threatened to engulf us. It's time to break free, Ella shouted, her spirit inflamed with fury against the encroaching shadows. And just like that, we charged forward, arms raised high, our hearts entwined in a battle cry for our truth. As we took the leap, the dark howls faded, consumed by the brilliant light behind us. Every ounce of our shared experiences came, rushing forward, weaving through the shadows clinging to us, transforming them into a vibrancy of color and warmth. When we broke through the final layer of darkness, the world exploded into a kaleidoscope of colors, a brilliant dawn dispelling the shadowed night. We stood in a golden meadow, sunlight cascading down, bathing us in warmth and renewal. Wrapping my arms around Ella, I felt both deep relief and overwhelming gratitude. "You did it, Dad," she murmured softly, a smile lighting up her face. "We did it. We'll never look back," I vowed, my heart swelling with a newfound strength. Together, we had faced the darkness, reclaimed our truth, and emerged stronger than ever. With the past behind us and the future ahead, I couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning. Together, we would forge a new path filled with love, hope, and understanding, a legacy worth sharing. And as we walked forward into this new life, one filled with promise and possibility, I realized the real twist of my birthday gift had changed everything. Sometimes, the journey of self-discovery begins with the courage to face the truth. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive story that could change everything for you. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. You have to express your thoughts. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us spread this empowering message together.